For centuries, before the era of refrigerated trucks, before plastic-wrapped convenience, and before the arrival of massive grocery chains, people didn't just eat. They thrived on what the land provided. Our ancestors lived by a code of self-reliance, stocking their pantries with foods that didn't rot in a week or expire in a month. These were the pioneer staples, foods so nutrient-dense and shelf-stable that they could sustain a family through a harsh mountain winter or a cross-country journey in a covered wagon. But today, that culinary heritage has been systematically erased. We've been conditioned to rely on a fragile supply chain and processed food products that offer plenty of calories but almost zero actual vitality. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on 20 lost pioneer foods so resilient and calorie-packed that they outlast any modern meal. Stay with me until the end, because number 1 is a forgotten survival bread that can literally stay edible for decades, and it's something you can make in your own kitchen for pennies. Number 20. Parched corn. This was the original trail mix of the American frontier. Pioneers would slowly roast dried corn kernels in a cast-iron skillet until they expanded slightly and turned golden brown. It's lightweight, won't spoil, and a single handful provides enough slow-burning energy to keep a traveler moving for hours. It was the secret fuel of the long hunters, yet today we've replaced it with sugary granola bars that crash your blood sugar in 30 minutes. Number 19. Salt pork. Before the deep freezer, there was the salt barrel. By curing fatty pork in heavy layers of salt, pioneers could keep meat for a year or more without a single watt of electricity. It wasn't just meat, it was a seasoning and a source of vital fats that made every pot of beans or greens a powerhouse of nutrition. Number 18. Hardtack. Often called pilot bread or sea biscuit. This is perhaps the most indestructible food ever created. Made of just flour, water, and salt, and baked until bone dry, hardtack is essentially a brick of pure energy. If kept dry, it can last 50 years. Our ancestors knew that when the world went sideways, hardtack was the difference between starving and surviving. Number 17. Pemmican. Developed by indigenous peoples, pemmican is the ultimate survival superfood. It's a concentrated blend of lean-dried meat and rendered fat. Gram for gram, it offers more energy than almost any food on Earth and never spoils. Number 16. Switchel. The pioneer Gatorade. This blend of water, ginger, syrup, and vinegar provided essential electrolytes to farmers. It's a natural anti-inflammatory that hydrates better than neon-colored sports drinks filled with artificial dyes. Number 15. Jerky. Long before it was a gas station snack, jerky was a serious preservation method. By removing every trace of moisture from lean meat, pioneers created a lightweight protein source that could be tucked into a pocket and eaten on the move. When made traditionally without chemical nitrates, it remains one of the healthiest snacks known to man. Number 14. Dried apples. Pioneers didn't have fresh fruit year-round, so they sliced and strung apples to dry by the hearth. These apple rings concentrated the natural sugars and vitamins, providing a burst of vitamin C in the dead of winter when scurvy was a very real threat. Number 13. Vinegar pie. When the lemon trees were thousands of miles away and the pantry was bare, pioneers used apple cider vinegar to create a tart, custard-like pie. It's a testament to their ingenuity, turning basic cupboard staples into a high-calorie morale booster that tastes like a luxury. Number 12. Sourdough starter. A pioneer woman's starter was often her most prized possession, sometimes passed down through 3 generations. It's a living colony of wild yeast and beneficial bacteria. Unlike modern store-bought bread that's filled with conditioners, sourdough is naturally preserved and helps the body absorb minerals. Number 11. Salted herbs. Before refrigerated spice jars, pioneers packed fresh herbs like parsley, celery, and leeks into jars with heavy layers of salt. This created a soup base that stayed fresh all winter, providing essential phytonutrients and flavor when the ground was covered in 3 feet of snow. Number 10. Suet pudding. In the frontier days, fat was life. Suet, the hard fat from around the kidneys, was steamed with flour and dried fruit to create a dense, calorie-heavy pudding. It provided the thermal energy needed to survive sub-zero temperatures, a far cry from the low-fat, high-sugar diets that leave us cold and tired today. Number 9. Johnny cakes. Also known as journey cakes. These simple cornmeal flatbreads were cooked on a hot stone or griddle. They were the original fast food, portable, durable, and filling. They represent a time when breakfast wasn't a box of cereal, but a sturdy foundation for a day of hard labor. Number 8. Pickled eggs. When the hens were laying more than the family could eat, pioneers used vinegar and spices to preserve the surplus. A jar of pickled eggs in the cellar meant a high-protein meal was always available, even months after the chickens had stopped laying for the winter. Number 7. Molasses. Before refined white sugar became a cheap commodity, molasses was the primary sweetener. It's a thick, dark syrup rich in iron, magnesium, and potassium. It didn't just sweeten a dish, it fortified it. Number 6. Dried beans. The pioneer's gold. Beans were the backbone of the frontier diet, offering fiber and protein in a package that could sit in a burlap sack for years without losing its nutritional value. Number 5. Root cellar vegetables. Carrots, beets, and turnips weren't just vegetables, they were living storage units. By keeping them in cool, dark, damp earth, pioneers kept fresh food available until the spring thaw. Number 4. Rendered lard. Clean, rendered pig fat was the multi-purpose miracle of the pioneer kitchen. It was used for frying, baking, preserving meat, confying, and even as a base for medicinal salves. It's a stable fat that doesn't go rancid like modern vegetable oils. Number 3. Pressure canned meats. While later than the earliest pioneers, the art of canning allowed families to put up entire harvests and hunts. A jar of home-canned beef or venison is a ready-to-eat meal that bypasses the need for a grocery store entirely. Number 2. Bone broth. Pioneers never wasted a scrap. Bones were simmered for days to extract every bit of collagen, marrow, and minerals. It was the original healing soup, repairing the gut and strengthening the joints of people who worked with their bodies every single day. And finally, number 1. The ultimate survival bread, ship's biscuit or pilot bread. It is the purest form of hardtack, baked multiple times to remove every molecule of water. It is so dry that mold cannot grow on it. Sailors and pioneers carried it because they knew that even if the water turned brackish and the meat went foul, the biscuit would still be there. It is the perfect symbol of a lost era, a food that doesn't need a label, a barcode, or a refrigerator to keep you alive. These 20 foods are more than just recipes. They are a blueprint for true food security. They represent a time when we weren't consumers, but providers. The knowledge of how to create them is still here, waiting to be reclaimed. If this opened your eyes to the strength of our ancestors' kitchen, share it with someone who needs to see the truth. Subscribe for more forgotten wisdom, and start building your own pioneer pantry today.